Greetings and welcome back to my dinner table. Welcome back to Pasta with Pasta. So another week, another dish, and let's choose which one it will be today. And how about this one? So, let's see. Oh, it is farfalle with bolognese sauce. And this request is coming by Murtai. So today we are making a fresh bolognese sauce. This will take quite some time because a fresh bolognese sauce has to cook for about an hour, but no problem. First of all though, I need to go to the supermarket and get the ingredients. So I will see you back in an hour or so. Well, for you a few seconds. From the supermarket. So today we are using mini farfalle. You can use normal farfalle or pretty much any pasta you'd like. Then, because the bolognese sauce is a meat sauce, we will need some minced meat. I'm using beef because pork tends to be a bit dominant in terms of the sauce. So yeah, I suppose you use minced beef as well. For the Americans, with you, it's ground beef in American English. We will need to fry it with something, so I have some rape oil. Then we will need some salt for the pasta water. For the sauce we will need some red wine. Fortunately I get small bottles with my supermarket. Be wary that you use a dry red wine, not a sweet one. It's better for cooking. You don't need to use the most expensive wine you can find. A cheap wine is enough, but don't use the wine in the packages like milk comes in, not in containers. Try to get one in a bottle. That's the quality you'd like. Anyways, we will need some soup stock, instant soup stock, meaty soup. This is a beef soup stock. We will need some tomato paste. Then, in terms of other fresh ingredients, we will need some garlic. You can leave it away, but it gives a very nice taste to the sauce. And I will use some shallots. Those are optional. You can use onions as well, or just leave them away if you don't like them. Then, let's get to seasoning. We have some thyme. We will need some oregano, and because it goes greatly with meat, rosemary. And as another optional seasoning, I'm using some cayenne pepper or red pepper because I like it a little bit more spicy, but that is entirely optional as well. Anyways, let me show you the materials. Today we will need a pot with a lid, pretty much as always. I mean, we want to cook some pasta, so yeah. A frying pan. We will need a cutting board and a knife. Tea and tablespoon. A sieve for the pasta. And a measuring cup. Enough for half a liter or a liter to mix the soup stock in. And that's pretty much it. Not much today. Welcome back to my stove. So, first of all we need to cut the shallots if you want to use them and the garlic. So get rid of the non-eatable parts at first, like this. Throw it away and then dip, dip. And same goes for the garlic. So just cut the end bits and get rid of the skin, the dry skin that is. Don't need to, well, you need to skin it alive. Although, is the garlic really alive now? I don't think so. Anyways, yeah, peel the garlic like this and get rid of the woody parts that are inside it, or that might be inside it if it's a little bit older. Right, so now I can cut the stuff. So the garlic I will cut later. First of all, the shallots. Because I like the taste of it, I will just halve them and then do some rings. So just like this. Some of you might not really like shallots or onions that much, so you can cut them smaller. I just like to have the little bits and pieces in my sauce, so it's just a, well, personal thing. Anyways, cut all the shallots if you use them like this. Those were the shallots. Now just put them in somewhere, leave them for now, and now we need to cut the garlic. You can use a garlic press, which is something that might look a bit like this. So with a little small sieve, and you just put it in here and then you can press the garlic. I think I will do that today. Oh, no, I didn't show it, so no. I will do it the hard way. Yeah, anyways, we need to do small stripes like this, and afterwards cut it into little bits and pieces. As it takes quite some time, yeah, off camera and such. Right, I now have a nice bit of garlic right here, and my hands stink like a garlic orgy, but oh well, that happens if you cut garlic. Anyways, put the garlic away for now, because it doesn't go into the sauce right away. You get rid of the knife as well. And now we need some soup stock. So I will take the measuring cup. I will get half a liter of water. Looks like half a liter. And now let's see what the thing says. Well, it is a big teaspoon full of the stuff for half a liter of, no, for a quarter liter of water. So I will take a big tablespoon. You can use some more, because everything you put in there will be the salt level of the sauce, and that was a little bit heavy. Anyways, it's better if you take warm or even cooking water or boiling water, because the soup stock will be better in solution, to use chemical terms. It's not so good in more or less cold or warm water. Anyways, I will have to stir it a little bit more, but we will need that for the sauce later. Anyways, I need to clean my stove a bit. There is a little bit of garlic mush on there and I can't cook like that. So let's put that away for now. Right, clean up a little, and now we can start frying. So use a little bit of oil, and then I will keep up the heat to about 7, so yeah, high heat, not highest heat, nearly highest maybe. And first of all, after the oil has dissolved a little bit, I can fry the shallots, and afterwards put the meat in there. And you see I have the tomato paste right here, and we'll need the wine as well, so get everything ready. And after we've done the initial frying, there is a lot of waiting time involved, just to pre-warn you. As I said, this takes quite some time, so yeah. And something I forgot with the materials I see now was a spatula. Anyways, I'm a little bit out of my mind today, might that be? Okay, so there we go. Put the shallots in there. Not the garlic, don't fry garlic because it gets bitter. So shallots in there, and we need to fry them a little bit until they don't get brown, they get a little bit, well, in German we say glasig, which is glass-like. So when they start to turn a little bit see-through, then they are perfect for putting the meat in. For now, they just have to start frying, which they don't. Do I hear something? No. Yeah. There we go. They started frying. Perfect. The problem is I only get one take with these videos, at least with everything I have to cook, so yeah, professionalism at its best. Anyways, yeah, I really like the smell of onions and shallots when they are frying. Not so much when I cut them, because I always have to cry as well. And besides using a diving mask, I didn't find a method to keep it from doing so. So, oh well. Oh well, oh well. Yummy, yummy. Alright, so as you see, they start to turn a little bit see-through, and that is what I meant. So you don't need to fry them until they caramelize, so turning brown. No, you can do that right now. So what I do now is put the meat in there. And because it's minced meat, we want to cut it a little bit smaller. And I now have to raise my voice because the frying starts to get a little bit louder. So we want to cook the meat or fry the meat from all sides. Mix it with the onions if you use them, or the shallots in my case. And cut it with the spatula into small pieces. I heard that the Americans do spaghetti with meatballs instead of the Bolognese sauce. The Bolognese sauce, as I'm concerned, is with minced meat like this. Wow, this is getting quite loud. As you see, I've cut the minced meat into small little pieces, and I keep doing so while frying it slowly. And we get a lot of steam, because in the meat there is a lot of water, and that evaporates right now, and it will keep doing so. And we want to get it well done from every side. So I've got a little bit of pink bits and pieces in here still, which I want to fry until they get, what color is this? Grayish brown? That doesn't sound very delicious. Let's call it meat colored, fried meat. Yeah, that's a nice color, isn't it? Yeah, the color is fried meat. So I don't see any immediate pink bits and pieces. So now what we want to do is get the tomato paste. About 3 tablespoons, as stated earlier, hopefully, if I did the editing right. And this is getting harder than anticipated, so I will just use the tube, which is nearing its emptiness. Oh man. Hey. So much for that. Give me your delicious stuff. Okay, that one's empty. I think I still need a little bit more, besides the thing on my apron. So let me use the other tube, and that should be about 3 tablespoons. Yeah, measuring by eye is a little bit harder. Anyways, you want to mix the minced meat with the tomato paste. This is never 3 tablespoons. There we go. Let's call it like that. And you want to keep it frying. I'm still on high heat, which is, to remind you, my stove has 9 heat levels, and I'm on level 8 right now, so nearly highest heat level on electric stoves. On gas stoves, a little bit less, because gas stoves are quite hot. And as you see, I'm making quite a mess around my frying pan, which is normal for me. Right. We have now a more or less homogenic mass of minced meat, onions and tomato paste. So what we want to do now, we want to keep the high heat and we want to get the wine, get it open and put the stuff in there. And now we want to cook it for some time. Silence, very good. That gives me time to get rid of the bit I spilled earlier. Oh man, and it happened on camera, so you got to see me making quite a mess. Oh well. Yeah, you want to keep high heat and stir it a little bit. What we are wanting to achieve right now is for the alcohol in the wine to dissolve, to evaporate, and the taste of the wine has to stay inside the sauce. This takes some time, so 5 to 10 minutes at least to get all the or most of the alcohol out of there. Since it will cook quite a bit more later, you don't need to get rid of all the alcohol. I don't know if I sniff at that. Am I getting drunk? Ooh, maybe. Of course you want to keep stirring a little bit, so nothing burns. But as you see, there is a lot of fluid still left, so we want to reduce the sauce a little bit more before we get the soup stock in there. So I have to keep stirring, and can bring you back in 5 or 10 minutes when most of the wine has dissolved. It's still cooking quite violently, as you see, but what you can see as well, it's getting a little bit thicker and the fluid has dissolved quite a bit. So now is a good time to get in the soup stock. Stir it again because it tends to separate. And now just put it in there, all of it. Notice how the cooking immediately stopped because it was more or less cold. Stir it and put down the heat to a medium level, medium to low. I will put it down to 4 of 9, so a little bit under half. And now we want to get our spices and herbs in. So garlic, I'm not forgetting the garlic today. A good bit of oregano. I really like a lot of spices and herbs in my food, so I'm using a little bit more. You can of course use less. Only season it to your liking. Do not season it like I do if you don't like herbs and spices. Anyways, with the cayenne pepper, I'm using a little bit more than most people would because I like spicy food, so be careful with the cayenne pepper. And stir it so it mixes nicely, and yeah. Now begins the waiting because it now has to cook for half an hour to an hour. Depends on when it has reduced to a level that it is a nice thick bolognese sauce. So the waiting begins. We will have to see when it starts cooking. When it does, I will bring you back in to show you how it looks. And every now and then I will bring you back in and show you how the progress it makes in getting reduced to a nice bit of thick sauce. Oh, I don't need to cut. See those little bubbles every here and then? There. It starts cooking. You don't need to stir it permanently. That would be quite a mess for about an hour. No. Every now and then you want to stir it, and for the rest of the time, just leave it alone. Look at it every now and then, but for the most of the time, don't do anything. Only if it starts cooking over or something, then you might want to put the heat down a notch. But for now, I can leave it at that heat level and bring you back in well, a few minutes, half an hour, depends. Right, about 6 or 7 minutes have passed since the last time. And it has reduced a little bit, and as you see, it is slowly cooking. You can see that by the little bubbles and the steam coming from it. And this is a nice level to keep it at. So if it looks a bit like that, a little bit more bubbles is alright. You can leave it like that for the next half an hour or hour until most of the water is dissolved. Another 5 or 6 minutes have passed and it lost some more of its water content. It's still quite fluid though, so we want to cook it way more until it is a nice thick sauce. And we fast forwarded another 10 minutes. As you can see, the sauce gets to be less and less, but we are slowly getting where we want to be. So see you again in 10 to 20 minutes. Right, another quarter hour has passed, so it has been cooking for what now, 35, 40 minutes? Anyway, the text below will show you. And it is getting nearly ready. I think another 10 or 15 minutes will do the trick. As you can see, it is not as fluid as it was before. And it has been reduced quite a bit. So most of the water has, or not most of the water, but quite a bit of the water has gone now. And this is how I want to have it. And another 10 minutes have passed and the sauce is now to my liking. If you want to cook it more or less, if you like it a little bit more fluid, I leave it to you, but it has now cooked for 45-50 minutes, I think. I have to review the footage and can write it under there for how long I cooked it. Yeah, but it is now how I like it. As you could notice, it is quite a lot of sauce. That is due to the fact that I will take a lot of it and just put it into the freezer in portions so I can use it at another time. Because this is quite a bit of work, or it takes quite a bit of time to do the bolognese sauce, the fresh one. So it's good if you make a little bit more and then just put it in the freezer. Anyways, let's get to the pasta now. So I will need a bit of water, as always. And of course you can't see, but I'm filling the pot with water now. There we go, water. And we need salt, about a tablespoon as always. Put the lid on there and maximum heat for the pasta water. And as always, I'll bring you in when it's cooking. We put the pasta in. You know the drill by now, hopefully. As the water is now nearing its boiling point, it needs some more time, but nearly. I will turn down the heat on the sauce to minimum level. I won't turn it off entirely, but as you see, it has lost a little bit more of its fluid, so it is now just perfect for my liking. And to keep it from losing too much more fluid until the pasta is done, I will just use it, put it on medium or lowest heat, as I said, to keep it warm until I can pour it on the pasta. So, how are you doing? Nearly, very nearly. So you can see all the ingredients right here. So a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onions, and I can't wait to actually taste that stuff. What goes great with the bolognese sauce, of course, is some cheese on top, which would be some Parmesan, Grana Padano, or Pecorino, so the Italian hard cheeses. Of course, you can use things like Gouda, mozzarella as well, but I really like the Italian hard cheese with my pasta. Always good to have a nice piece of it in the house. Something like this is what I'm talking about. In the fridge it won't go off for like 3 or 4 weeks, so if you buy a big piece of that and have a cheese grinder, you can use it quite often until you have to throw it away because it gets moldy or something. And it is a lot cheaper to buy a piece of it than to buy it pre-packed and pre-grinded, and it tastes a lot better as well. So you might want to think about that. It is always great to have that in your kitchen. Same goes for the tomato paste. I always have 1 tube or a spare tube of tomato paste in my kitchen because I use it for pretty much everything when I cook. Same with onions and garlic. Those are things you can keep for quite some time until they are not usable anymore. And they are quite cheap as well. So if you live on a budget, that is good for usage. Anyways, the water is boiling. This pasta needs 7 minutes. At least the pasta I use. So let's put it in, start the timer. Initial stirring, put down the heat to a medium level. So 2/3 of your maximum level it is. For the gas stove users, half the heat. And now let's wait for 7 minutes until the pasta is done, and then we can serve the food and finally I can eat. The pasta is nearly done, so I'll turn off the heat on both stoves. So no more heat. And I can now turn off the timer and put the pot to the noodle sieve. Then I can serve the pasta and show you what we've done today. And there we go! Today, mini farfalle with bolognese sauce, self-made of course. And as you can see, it turned out quite nicely. And now for the taste test, if I did right today. Oh man, this is steaming hot, so hopefully I don't burn myself. It turned out perfectly. Ah, nice. Very nice. So, if you want me to cook something for you as well, like I did today for Murtai, then put your request into the comment section or just write me a personal message via Twitter or YouTube. I certainly hope to see you next time as well, so until then, yours faithfully, the Pastafarian.